Hello everyone and good evening. Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Marcus Bagwell, Meteorologist Andrew Samet also with me too. We've had a lot unfold here just in the last 20 minutes since we've been off the air from KETK News at 6. We want to spend some time dissecting and going in a bit more, a closer look at the weather for us. Things are really evolving here, and unfortunately we're probably in line for a pretty decent freezing rain event that may occur across our west areas. This is the radar look here at this point. We're going to go back to it a bit more momentarily. I want to first set up with the winter alerts. Here's the newest thing. We just got an upgrade to winter storm warning criteria now for Hopkins, Rains, and Van Zant counties for us. This is going to continue to usher in the greatest risk of ice concerns, so freezing rain that will cause impacts on roadways across our extreme northwest counties. Everywhere else that you see in the blue shape, that's going to be the winter weather advisory, and that encompasses a few more counties. Cass County, Morris County now added to that list as well, and it comes down along Highway 271 back toward Highway 69, and also right at the end of the 6 o'clock broadcast, Houston and Trinity counties were also added to this list. Essentially, in these areas, this is where we're going to see a better risk of some freezing rain to develop, perhaps up to 2/10 of an inch, and there could even be maybe the greatest risk of 2/10 of an inch of ice in our northwest areas, perhaps maybe just a bit more. What we're going to notice here is we're probably going to see the freezing rain threat increase across this area. Now, from Highway 259 and points to the east, the impact here of wintry weather, but we cannot rule it out. You notice the picture from Longview right now showing that cloudy sky, just general rain that continues to fall at this moment. 35 is the temperature we've got in the north and northwest. Okay, let's go a bit closer here on the radar, and you'll notice that we're starting to see precipitation across the snow that was mixing in the Bullard area. Now we're starting to see another wave of that. In Tyler, in Smith County, most likely we are dealing with now is going to be freezing precipitation on elevated surfaces. So your car tops, if you try to get into your car, there's probably going to be ice on it that will create a problem to get in. And you're also going to begin to see more of this precipitation move in over the next couple of hours. Now, farther off to the east and northeast, now where we have that winter weather advisory, it's mostly just rain at this point in sections of Cass County back toward Morris County at this time, but it's going to be areas to our west that we're going to start to see some greater impacts begin to move in. And especially back down to the southwest there at this point. Notice how we're about to see a pretty decent batch of freezing rain increase over portions of Henderson and Anderson County. Let's go into the temperatures, and then we're going to go back to the radar, talk about big picture. We're going to break all of this down for you. Road temperatures, FUTURECAST, regarding the precipitation types. We're going to do all of that. The key part of all this, too, is going to be the air temperature. If this air temperature continues to cool, that's going to allow the road temperature to cool, and that's when problems will arise. And especially in our west areas, where it's 29 in Sulphur Springs, 28 in Grand Saline, we've got 28 in Overton. Notice how 271 is probably a good dividing point right now, because Longview and the East Texas Regional Airport both reporting around the mid-30s. Same for Henderson at this time. 32 in Troop, 30 in Noonday. Canton at 27. We had our Lauren Margolis and Raina. They were out there. Raina Rebel, they were out in Canton. They were starting to see some of the icicles begin to form. We also had Frank and Tyler from earlier this afternoon. And we also had Torrey. Torrey was up in Upshur County, keeping an eye on things there where there weren't much problems, at least at this current point. 28 Palestine, Elkhart at 29. And then notice areas to the east of Highway 69 well above freezing. 39 Nacogdoches, 42 Hemphill, Trinity at 34, Crockett down to a temperature of 31 at this current moment. Okay, back to the radar look, and then I'm going to toss it over to meteorologist Andrew Samet. Notice how the precipitation is beginning to increase back off to the west and to the southwest. A lot of moisture streaming in. Andrew, I'm going to send it over to you so we can be a little bit more open-ended, talk a bit more about the science as well. But this layer of warmer air that's moving in above us, that is very significant, and that's why this freezing rain threat is increasing.
That's right, Marcus, and this has been a very dynamic system from the start as it developed. Here's a look at the radar. This was 10:55 in the morning. There was a lot of snow and sleet over northern portions of Arkansas into Oklahoma, and then that freezing drizzle down by the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In fact, the National Weather Service office over in Tulsa, Oklahoma, earlier this morning, they issued a special weather statement for a strong thunderstorm with wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, but instead of a thunderstorm with rain, it was a thunderstorm with only sleet. So this has been a very dynamic system. Some of that heaviest activity has started to lift up into parts of the Ohio River Valley. But like Marcus mentioned earlier, we are starting to see the moisture increasing closer to our area as southwesterly flow continues in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And that's going to lead to some wintry impacts, especially in the pink shaded area here, including places like Gilmer, Mount Pleasant, Sulphur Springs, Mineola, Tyler, Athens, Palestine, all the way down to Crockett and Trinity County as well. Could see some wintry mix. It's likely in the pink shaded area. That will lead to some light ice accumulations, especially the closer you get to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So Henderson, Van Zandt, Rains, and Hopkins counties has the greatest threat of some light ice accumulations, not only on elevated roadways such as bridges and overpasses, but also on surface roads as well as temperatures continue to drop through the overnight hours. In the green shaded counties, including Sabine County, into portions of Panola and Shelby County, and then also into Harrison County as well. Some sleet may try to mix in at times, but temperatures generally stay above freezing, and those road temperatures stay above freezing as well. So for places like Henderson, Nacogdoches, Lufkin, not looking at any wintry weather concerns. Of course, roads may still be wet out there, so still exercise some caution. But in the pink shaded area, that is where you need to use that extreme caution on the roadways, especially those bridges and overpasses. Of course, there's those signs everywhere that says the bridge may ice before the road. And of course, there's a reason why those signs are there. And those overpasses and bridges tend to cool off much quicker because they are exposed on both sides from the wind and the colder air. So bridges and overpasses, certainly you'll want to use that extreme caution while driving over, especially like I mentioned in the pink shaded area, and especially in our northwestern counties, including Hopkins, Rains, and Van Zandt, which have been upgraded to a winter storm warning. So that's where the impacts will be felt the greatest as we head into the overnight hours. Any of those wet roads may start to freeze over in places like Canton, Edgewood, Emory, and into parts of the Sulphur Springs area as we head into tonight. So when we talk about all this wintry precipitation, there's a lot going on throughout the entire atmosphere that leads to these types of wintry precipitation. So we'll kind of dive into it here for us. We'll start with freezing rain. So of course we have the clouds up high in the atmosphere. Snow starts falling out of them where temperatures are below freezing. For freezing rain, there's a fairly large area in the middle part of the atmosphere where temperatures are well above freezing. And so those snowflakes melt into raindrops. And then at the ground level, temperatures are below freezing. So those raindrops, once they hit the ground, they freeze on contact with the ground, and that is called freezing rain. So it falls as rain, freezes on contact with the ground. That's our greatest concern going forward in terms of that wintry mix. Also, if it gets cold enough, some sleet may mix in as well. Now, sleet forms in a slightly different process here. We've got the clouds on top, snowflakes fall out. We've got an area in the middle part of the atmosphere that is generally above freezing. Those snowflakes melt into raindrops. And then there's a larger area of temperatures below freezing closer to the ground. Not at the ground level exactly, but these below freezing temperatures extend a little bit higher up in the atmosphere than in the case of freezing rain. So those raindrops that melted, or those snowflakes that melted in here into rain, will refreeze into ice pellets, and that will fall to the ground as sleet. It's pretty similar to in the look of hail, but it actually forms in a completely different manner. Again, sleet is raindrops that freeze before making contact to the ground, and so they form as ice pellets. So sleet certainly still leads to some slippery roads, but it's not as dangerous as freezing rain. Freezing rain can also weigh on trees and power lines and things like that. Now, we're not looking to see significant ice accumulations where we'd see power outages and things, widespread power outages or things like that, but that's certainly to keep in mind as well. Of course, with freezing rain, if you want to have road concerns, your road temperature has to be either at or below freezing, and we are seeing that now in Sulphur Springs. Current road temperature is 32, so we're going to start to see those bridges and overpasses freeze first, followed by other roadways that are based on the ground. Now, Mineola and Athens, your road temperature is above freezing, but keep in mind these road temperatures that you're looking at are in cities that have some cars driving through. The road temperatures are naturally going to be a bit warmer. So in the outside rural areas, that's where we're looking at the greatest concern, because there's less cars that travel on them, and so those roads will also cool over fast as well. Into portions of deep East Texas, those road temperatures are into the 40s, so not really concerned about frozen precipitation there. Quick look at your FUTURECAST road temperatures. You can see in the blue shaded area especially, that indicates the temperatures of the roads below, either at or below freezing. So places like Hopkins, Rains, Van Zandt counties, notice almost the entire county as we head throughout the overnight hours are going to be in that blue shaded area, indicating that road temperatures likely either at or below freezing. So we'll continue to track these road temperatures as we head throughout the overnight hours. Again, you can see in Tyler, the city itself, road temperatures generally stay above freezing. It's the surrounding area, especially the further northwest you go, where they could see some freezing over, and then we will gradually warm things up a bit as we head into your Thursday afternoon. So that will hopefully bring some relief. But notice even by 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, those road temperatures in Sulphur Springs still down into the upper 20s. So there can continue to be icing concerns as we head into your day on Thursday. So road temperatures is something we will be tracking very closely throughout the rest of the overnight hours. Marcus?
Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much for explaining all of that. And with the winter storm warning and just seeing that road temperature graphic go down below freezing in those three counties, Van Zandt, Rains, and Hopkins County, that's where we could have some of the most significant problems of this entire weather event in East Texas as we go into the day, into overnight and into the day tomorrow. I just posted on social media. I would love to know what you're seeing in this area from near Palestine toward Jacksonville, this precipitation lifting northeast. Is it frozen precipitation already that's already hitting the ground? Maybe it's sleet, maybe it's freezing rain, maybe it's just rain and the radar just detecting it a bit more higher up. But as Andrew showed you on the panels talking about what freezing rain actually is, we've got a significant layer of warm air, 3,000 to 5,000 feet up, 50 degrees at least. That is significant. That's why the liquid, it's going to be a liquid rain as it comes down to the ground. It will freeze on contact because our temperatures are getting below freezing. First, it's happening on those elevated surfaces. All right, let's take you to FUTURECAST. So let's take a look here. There's what we're looking at here at this current point based off of the model data. Notice as it begins to increase with time by 10 o'clock, and even after that toward midnight, precipitation becomes more widespread across our west and northwest areas. Into 4 a.m., that freezing line still right near Highway 271, but we could even see perhaps some light freezing rain too that the model's not detecting down toward Houston and Trinity County. That's why you've been added to the winter weather advisory. 7 a.m., it is still a mess. Even though the precipitation is light, it is enough to do significant damage, and that's what we want to be on guard for as we get toward mid-morning and into the afternoon. Hopefully by the afternoon we can nudge that freezing line farther off to the northwest. However, places in Henderson County, Wood, all the way up toward Franklin County, we could still have some impacts here. So traveling to the Metroplex tomorrow, highly unlikely. I would discourage that at all costs based off of what we've seen today and what's likely to pick up for them as we go into the overnight and into the day tomorrow. So we get into the afternoon, we'll notice that we still have some rainfall around, and this should begin to pull away as we get into the evening. Notice how the freezing line tries to meet up with the rain. That's why deep East Texas, you could see a brief changeover to a rain-wintry mix, but the impact there unlikely to occur. Now, I know clouds are clearing. We've got a cold start up ahead on Friday morning, but then the clouds roll right back in, leading to our next rain chance, maybe as early as Friday afternoon. 7 a.m. temperatures tomorrow from 28 in Mount Pleasant all the way down to 27 in Palestine. May need to make some adjustments here. I've got Crockett at 33, even down toward Trinity County. May need to nudge this down 34, closer to Trinity probably 32. Longview, it's a close call with 33 in the morning, 35 in Henderson, but the critical number is 30 and below. That's where we will probably see some freezing rain impacts. And then for tomorrow afternoon, Temperatures to the lower and the mid 30s. We should get to the 40s down to the south and to the southeast. Andrew called this next graphic hope on the horizon. Yeah, we've got some better weather that is upcoming next week, starting Sunday, heading into next Wednesday. We could get close to 70, but we're below normal, perhaps all the way through Monday, with the precipitation chances continuing here in East Texas. All right, one more look at the radar for us here. There you can notice some of that precipitation that is continuing to move in. I expect this to increase more as we go throughout this evening. Checking to see if anybody's commented on my Facebook post asking about what we've seen here in this region. And it doesn't look like we have any posts there just yet. However, we will probably see a bit more impacts, and we'll keep an eye on things closely as we go through the rest of tonight. I'll see you tonight on Fox 51 News at 9. Andrew's going to get some shut-eye for a couple of hours because it's probably going to be a long overnight, early morning period. Carson will be in tomorrow morning, but we'll have updates, new model data coming in this evening. We'll have that for you coming up at 9 o'clock on Fox 51 and then KETK at 10. A lot of school closures as well. You can find that here on the app and at our website also. Thank you for taking time to join us, and we hope you have a safe evening and into the overnight.